What's your best the tables have turned moment? My brother Leo asked me to invest $50,000 in his new revolutionary tech startup. It was the best money I ever spent, because I spent it to destroy him. For years, Leo had perfected the art of the sob story. His businesses were always on the verge of greatness before being crushed by a sudden market downturn or a betrayal by a partner. Each failure ended with a tearful call to our parents, who would drain their savings to bail him out. He claimed his last venture went under because he'd spent 60 grand of investor money on a critical business trip that just happened to be in Monaco during the Grand Prix. I was the only one who saw through it. I saw the designer clothes he bought, the expensive dinners he expensed. But my parents saw their struggling son, and I was the cold-hearted cynic. So when he came to me for his latest scam, an app that supposedly used AI to predict stock trends, I agreed. But I had conditions. I wanted to be a silent partner with full access to the books and a seat on the board. He was so high on his own arrogance, so sure I was another fool to be fleeced, that he agreed instantly. The first month was a masterclass in fraud. The office was a temporary mail drop. The development team in India was a single freelancer he paid pennies to create a flashy but non-functional demo. The seed funding from other investors was just my 50 grand circulating through different accounts. I played my part perfectly. I was the naive younger brother, impressed by his big words and complicated charts. I spent my nights not sleeping, but learning. I taught myself forensic accounting from online courses. I learned how to track digital money trails and spot shell corporations. My earned discovery wasn't a single moment, it was a slow, grinding process. I had to decrypt the files on the company server, which meant guessing his passwords. It took me 3 weeks, but I finally got in by using the name of his first dog combined with the year he peaked in high school football. Classic Leo. Inside, I found the real books. A second ledger detailing every dollar he'd siphoned off, not just from me, but from at least 3 other small-time investors he'd suckered in. That's when I had the midpoint mini twist. He called me one night drunk and gloating. He was celebrating a new investor, a retired teacher who'd given him her entire pension. He laughed about how easy she was to fool, and in his drunken rant, he mentioned the name of a victim from a previous scam. A name I'd never heard before. That gave me a new trail. I hired a private investigator with the last of my savings to find this other victim. It turned out Leo had ruined him, leaving him bankrupt and broken. I now had a partner. We spent the next month building a fortress of evidence. I downloaded every file, every email. My new partner provided sworn affidavits and old bank statements from Leo's last scam. We compiled a dossier that was over 200 pages long, irrefutable proof of wire fraud, securities fraud, and racketeering. The final act was almost anticlimactic. I called a board meeting at a rented conference room. Leo walked in expecting to ask for more money. Instead, he saw me, the other investors, and 2 detectives from the Economic Crimes Unit. He didn't even try to run. The bravado just melted off his face, leaving a scared little boy. He just sat down heavily, the glossy, cheap paper of his fraudulent prospectus still in his hand. The reveal was the lead detective saying, "Leo, you're under arrest for fraud." The reaction was the other investors erupting, some crying with relief, others shouting at the man who had ruined them. Leo just stared at me, his eyes finally holding a sliver of respect. The respect you have for the person who finally outplayed you. He did 3 weeks in county jail before my parents bilaid him out, but the civil suits took everything else. He now works a minimum wage job at a warehouse. A court-ordered 10% of his paycheck garnished for the next 30 years to pay back the people he stole from.